Are you in that 25% of small business owners who are shifting to having a digital or online strategy in your business? Hi y'all, thanks so much for joining me, and I really hope that you're a part of that 25%, and if not, I hope by the end of this video that I have convinced you on why you should be a part of that 25%, or really and truly increase it from being just 25%, right? Because digital and online strategies are important for our businesses. If you didn't think so before, I'm sure last year I may have given you a different impression of how important these digital strategies can be. So please like and share this video if you get value from it. And I'm Dr. P. I'm a strategic business coach, and I used to be a school psychologist in K-12 schools, and I've served on professional organization committees and taught graduate psychology courses at the master's level. And you might not have thought of this, but probably are wondering how I can link my background in school psychology with what I'm doing as a strategic business coach. And there's so many things that I've experienced working in the school system that I'm able to apply with being a business coach in my own business and also with helping others. And digital strategies were a part of those many experiences that I had. And let me share a little story with you. Like 10 years ago, there was going to be a shift coming in the psychological world where assessments were going from being these huge bulky things, this huge bag that's like 20 pounds or all this stuff that you were walking around with becoming digital. And I was so excited when I heard that, because when I was like, okay, when I heard that, I was like, I don't have to walk around with this 20 pound bag. And the thing is that when you're working with individuals, it wasn't just one bag. You're talking like 2, 3, sometimes even 4 or 5. So that's a lot of stuff that you had to be walking around with. And you had it in the trunk of your car. I mean, when you went grocery shopping, you forget about using your trunk, right? Because it's all covered in all these bags with all these different test kits. And then when you got to the location where you were going to be using them, it was kind of like 2 or 3 trips from the car with all of these things, right? So it was so amazing for me when I heard that there was going to be this shift to digital, because I'm like, oh my gosh, that can save so much time on so many levels. First off, being that you don't have to waste time going back and forth from your car lugging all these things. And another benefit was the fact that it saves some time on scoring, because there were some things that the system would live score for you, and that was also awesome. And it also eliminated like human error, because let's be honest, reading all those little tables and going across left to right, sometimes you may have written down the wrong number, then you had to go back, check, and realize, oh, I made a mistake, and change it. So with the digital, it was taken away from you having to make those errors, open up the door for those errors, and also taken away from you having to go back and check and triple check, because you were entering the information into the digital system and it was scoring it for you, so it was saving you some time. Don't get me wrong though, not everything could have been scored live and in here and now. You had to then, review some things afterwards, especially things that had long written responses. You did have to sit down and still be the human person who was actually evaluating it. So it didn't take away everything, but it really did help, right? And I was so excited. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, my colleagues are going to be thrilled, because we're going to have this way of saving some time and being able to be more efficient in our jobs and get a lot more of the tasks done that we needed to do in our roles as school psychologists. But then I found out that not everybody was as excited as I was though. And a lot of people were like, I don't know about that. I don't think we want to do that. And I couldn't figure out why, because I'm thinking, this is going to help save you so much. And I was thinking about the benefits, and I just remember going, why wouldn't you want this? Something that can make life easier for you. And I mean, I was trying to figure it out. I wasn't saying I was stressing over it, but I was just like kind of mind boggled. Like, why wouldn't you want to be able to use something that can save you some time? But then I found out something. I found out that those who were opposed to it, many of them, they weren't quite familiar with what exactly it meant to be going digital. And I was like, oh, so what was missing was education. You had to actually share information with my colleagues about what going digital meant. And that's what it boiled down to, just providing information. sharing information. And it was really that simple. A lot of my colleagues were not educated on what it really meant for an assessment that was in 20 pounds, in this bag, to now be on this iPad format that you can just pick up really easy and walk around with it. You don't have to worry about lugging all these things back and forth. So I was like, whoa, what a simple fix, right? You were providing this education, and you were like, okay, more people became on board when they learned about what the benefits were, and they got to see like the demos and everything. So I was like, yay, we're moving forward. But that wasn't the only hurdle. I thought it was, but then came the part of the fact that you have to actually, share that information with your supervisors and tell them about the cost factor that's involved in it. And that's the other part you got to do. You got to look at the budget that you have and kind of justify why you needed to be spending all of this money on iPads. I'm talking like over 100 iPads you're purchasing, and why you were spending all this money on new licenses for assessments that you already have in paper format. Why do you need to be double dipping? So it was a really shocking situation, because as much as it was difficult to share that information with colleagues and kind of bring them on board for why they should move forward, then you had this other hurdle. So what really helped out with the switch to the digital is really explaining, not just to colleagues and supervisors, that before we were having online scoring for like rating scales, right? These are little opinion box forms that have over 150 items on it. We were hand scoring that, and that was a lot of time that it took to hand score, and then you double checking. Then that went computer based, and then when it was computer based, it freed up some time, because it was time, it was time saving really. So explaining the fact that the same thing will happen when you move to the digital. So it did take a lot of convincing, but we really had to come up with a plan on how that was going to roll out, and that does help. The plan helps, because in the plan, you have an idea of the direction you're going to be taking, and it helps out. So it wasn't that we were just purchasing things randomly. We had a plan on how we were going to be making that shift, from just being paper-based to being that online and digital. So what the hell any of this got to do with having an online or digital strategy in your business? Think about this. When my colleagues first found out about shifting to a digital or online strategy, many of them were opposed to it, right? But then when they received some education on what that meant and the benefits of it, a lot more of them came on board. I'm not saying everybody was sold on it, but a lot more people came on board. So in business, many business owners didn't think about having, or even considered even having, a digital online strategy before. But then 2020 came. Now all of a sudden, everybody now seems to be scrambling, trying to figure out, oh my gosh, what should I be doing online? Some people already have plans that we're working on, so they were better able at implementing them. Some of us may have not had plans, and you were struggling trying to figure out, oh my gosh, how, when, where, and you probably spend a lot of money doing a lot of things that now you might be regretting because you didn't have a plan to execute, and when you're having a digital strategy for your business, it's just that your overall strategic plan. You really have to plan it out, not do it haphazard, but actually have a plan of what you actually want to be accomplishing when you take on a digital strategy. Don't just go into it just because. You want to make sure that it's going to be something that could be beneficial for you. Because remember, when I was telling you about being in the school district, I had to share what the benefits were when we were going from a paper-based to a digital-based, right? So it's the same thing with business. We got to be looking at some of those practices that we have that we were doing offline, face-to-face in our communities, because you can go out to businesses and, interact with people live. Some of those things, can you or even should you move them to online or digital strategy? And that is something that you need to really sit down and look at your business to make that decision for yourself, so you can plan out the best strategy for your business. Because 32% of small businesses are changing their primary source of revenue. And a lot of that has to do with last year, because a lot of times, a lot of businesses, it required you going into a physical store. Now some people are actually changing the experience of you going into a store to you actually being able to purchase goods and services online. So that is something that you might be wanting to consider. And we're back to that digital strategy again. 25% of small businesses are shifting to a digital or online strategy. And these two statistics actually are from Bank of America Small Business Report. And there are lots more statistics in there. If you get a chance, check it out. I was really like, oh my gosh, this is stuff that people need to be aware of. I've shared it on a couple different platforms and if you've seen it on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, I'm really excited you were able to get it, because it's information we need to know. Because as small business owners, it really is important for us to be keeping up with the latest trends and reports that are done specifically targeting small business owners like ourselves. Because when we do that, we get to stay current, and there's some benefits of it, right, that we can definitely gain from. So like I said, I wanted to share some reasons why you should be considering, having that digital or online strategy, right? And the first one is it can help you make some changes in your business that your competition is not doing. And when you make those changes that your competition is not doing, guess what? Put yourself in a strategic position to really attract more customers, and you can end up maximizing on that market share because you are staying up to date and current with what's going on. You're realizing the trends. You're looking at having this digital strategy in place, and you might have competition. Your biggest competitors might not even have an online presence. So you now having this digital strategy that you're implementing now puts you ahead of your competition. Isn't that awesome? That is completely awesome, right? So that's one of them. Another reason why you should consider having an online or digital strategy is that it can allow you to reach your target audience where they're at. And it also gets you a better position of reaching your ideal customer. So you really get to position yourself on platforms that your ideal audience, your target audience uses, and you get to connect with them. You get to reach out to them, because let's be honest, people, if they weren't before 2020 on their cell phones, their laptops, any type of technology a lot, they could have been sitting on their smart TV. The point is they were on technology, and if they weren't on it a lot before 2020, they then became on it for sure, because we were really attached to our technology in 2020. So if you are doing your research and you found the platforms that your ideal audience is using, can have that presence where they are, and therefore they're getting to see you. You're getting to meet and interact with them. So you're meeting them in a way that you weren't meeting them before, because if you were relying solely on face-to-face, now you have to look at a different way. Because remember, the Bank of America report talk about how people are shifting their ways of generating revenue. So now if you are having that digital or online strategy for your business, and you're meeting your target audience where they're at, then there's no person or other business between you and them, right? Because they're getting to interact with you online, whatever is the platform they're using. But definitely you'll have to do some research on your end to find out where your customers are at, because you want to make sure that you're spending your money wisely. Which brings me to the third thing. Plan your digital strategy. You remember in my example, I talked about the fact we had a plan. You have to have a plan for your digital strategy. It is not a haphazard, let me wake up and let's do this and do this and do this. You have to understand why your strategy is going to be important, because it should be connected to your strategic goals for your business. Remember those strategic goals, those goals that you want to accomplish in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, those big goals that you have. You should be using your digital strategy to align with those strategic plan goals, so you're constantly moving and working towards your goals, because your digital plan is going to give you that direction that you need to actually execute those digital tactics that you're going to be doing. Which then brings me to the last one I wanted to share with you. The fourth one is monitor your digital strategy, because whatever tactics you're going to be using, be sure to track and monitor them, because scaling your business is important. You want to make sure whatever it is that you're doing, that you're looking at how much it costs and then how much return on investment you're getting, because you want to be able to see, hey, am I spending more and getting less, or am I spending less and getting more. You really got to look at that balance, because scaling your business is important. You want to really get that return on investment. So I hope this helps you or gives you an idea of why having a digital strategy is important for you and your business to grow. You can message me if you want to get more information. I'm Dr. Priscilla Kucer with Priscilla Kucer Consulting Solutions. Remember, solutions plus actions equals results. Thank y'all so much. Bye.